actually down by the lake. I sound like I'm doing the weather report. This is how I would do our weather report. I had to go downtown again today with my mom for some doctor's appointments, and I like being downtown. I am happy that so many places are able to continue to have outdoor dining, as it continues to be unsafe to be inside without a mask. I know some people are dining indoors, but I hope that you remain vigilant, because we continue to have breakthrough cases with very low breakthrough cases with those who are vaccinated, and we have, of course, those who are unvaccinated. It is a pandemic amongst folks who can't. Many people can't get vaccinated, but many people who are, they're not hesitant anymore. They are simply resistant. And we are seeing in situation after situation across the country where employers are saying you must have a vaccination in order to remain employed, and people are choosing to get vaccinated. Yes, there are people who are leaving, and that is their choice to do so. But if an employer requires that you have a vaccination, and they're seeing across the country, I'm sure that there will be legal battles, but that is a requirement of employment. And if you want to go work somewhere else, because somewhere that will not require vaccinations, at least not at this time, because as we go forward, I think we are seeing the results of being vaccinated, and that is controlling the virus amongst those of us who have received that protection. So 773-763-WCPT is our number to call and join the conversation. Not even just join the conversation. You can drive the conversation. Tell us what's on your mind and what your thoughts are. 773-763-9278. That is a number you can call or text us. And I know that there's so much going on in D.C. with the vote, and they were able to provide funding and to keep the government running. And of course, now there's a lot of negotiations over what the packages are going to look like in the infrastructure. Now Manchin saying that he wants to bring down the spending to more than half of what was intended, I believe. And again, I have to ask, what are we going to do for all? I mean, if not now, when? In terms of moving into we have not pulled ourselves into the 21st century. Everyone deserves access to the internet. Is the only way to survive, with education, with employment, being connected as a citizen. So I think that's one of the things that I'm really glad that is part of that spending. Right now on the line, we have a listener. We have our friend Jim is on the line. Hey, Jim, how are you doing today?
Hi, Patty. So far as I could tell, the internet's given us Trump as president. It's given us a vaccine disaster. I don't know what it's going to portend in the future. It looks pretty grim to me. But if this was 1995, everyone would have been vaccinated. There would have been just the dissemination of information is insane. How this thing is supposed to work. How the CDC couldn't come out in the first month of the pandemic and let us know on the internet, by the way,
right,
that we were in trouble for this disaster, a pending disaster. Apparently it didn't work out very well, because I went into hiding on my own on March 10th of whatever the hell year it was. I can't even remember.
I know, 20. It was last year.
I can't remember. Anyway, and then we have this standoff. They want to keep a permanent underclass. These billionaires, they have to have a permanent underclass. Otherwise, if everybody could see eye to eye, it'd be curtains for them, I guess. But anyway, this internet's killing us up. Anyway, Patty, yes. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Jim. Always good to hear from you. The thing is that, yes, there are people who are not getting vaccinated because they're believing the lies, and many people are misguided. I also believe many of them are not getting vaccinated just out of sheer hate for science, it's owning the libs. And if I get it, somehow they're giving in or admitting that they were wrong. And that's not easy. It's not, it takes a lot of courage to say you were wrong. And not all of us can do it. And I've been in situations where I have to find that strength and say I was mistaken. And deciding to keep a job and get vaccinated, you have, because why would you stay in that job if the requirement is? I get it. You obviously need the employment, need to support your family, and if it means getting the vaccination, you will do that for your family. But with all these people that are agreeing to get vaccinated in order to keep their occupation or keep that job that they're in and not seeking something else, because we see that there are tons of companies, a lot of businesses that are looking for help. So it's not as though there aren't jobs out there right now. So I don't know why you would stay in a job if you really don't want to get vaccinated. And it has to come down to the fact that it was never about that horse pace works or all these other things that were wrong with it, or it makes you, what is it that makes you magnetic, that the vaccination will make you magnetic. So if it was really about that, then you wouldn't get vaccinated at all, at whatever cost. But it comes down to the fact that it's all about lies. It's all about lies, just like there are lies about the election, clinging to that. And by the way, I was listening earlier about some of these cases where the people who were in the Capitol on January 6th, talking about hot lies, the people who are being prosecuted, they're dropping it down to misdemeanors as though they, as Joan said, they were just having a parade in the wrong place, and they're not being held accountable. And that's one of the things I feel makes so many people outraged, is the lack of accountability. When you behave badly, there must be consequences. And I was thinking about this the other night too. I was thinking, it is frustrating when you're living in this, in what you know to be reality, what you know what the facts are, what the truth is, and other people are just using all of their energy to go against that, whether it's on a personal level, on a public level, or if it's in your employment. And it's feeling claustrophobic when you see people just say, calling everything a falsehood, right? That they weren't. I had someone tell me that they were not breaking the law, that they were not trying to overthrow the government in the Capitol on January 6th, that they were not doing anything but a quiet protest. And they don't want us to believe our eyes. They don't want us to see that police officer that was trapped in the doors as the crowds were pushing him, and he was begging for his life, asking them to let him get out of that door. He was nearly crushed to death. But they're like, oh, no, that was, or I'm guessing now they're going to say that those were all doctored videos, that the law enforcement there, and that's the only time I guess that Back the Blue doesn't hold, is when, it's their own attacking police officers, using their own equipment, tasering them. Another police officer who was begging for his life and had to say that he was a father in the hopes that they would take pity on him and let him live. And they beat him with an American flag. In the meantime, they were taking down the American flag and raising a Trump flag. I heard this morning I think it was Tom Hartman was talking about the polling and how people identify themselves, and whether they're conservative Republicans or Trump Republicans, and they were trying to figure out what's a Trump Republican. Well, it's somebody who's in a cult is what that is. I'm not a Biden or an Obama Democrat. I'm a Democrat, and I'm a progressive, because when I am confronted with information and facts, when I have even if it's contrary to a previous opinion that I had, I am willing to adapt and say, you know what, maybe I was mistaken, or I hadn't thought of it that way. You know what, based on this new information that I've checked out, that I've read all the different sources, you know what, I was mistaken, and I'm going to continue to learn more about this. We are willing to learn more, and we are going up against people who not only aren't willing to learn more, they're not willing to listen. They'd rather name call liberals and progressives. And somebody asked me the other day what a progressive was, and exactly what I said. Capable of hearing information and research. Empathy is also a pretty big part of it, but because I don't know how you could have empathy in so many of the things that are happening to limit people's rights across the country, whether it's the ability to vote, whether it's the ability to breathe fresh air and drink clean water, whether it's women's right to decide their own future with their bodies. I don't know how you can have empathy and be against any of those things. I can't. I can't have a conversation with you. But I mean, I can't have a conversation with you. It's not going to go well, probably for either one of us. You're welcome to give it a try. 773-763-9278 is a number to call or text. We would love to hear your voice, though, as Santita Jackson says, every morning. So give us a call or text. And coming up in a little bit, we'll talk to comedian and musician Steve Goodie, whose music you hear on our show every day. And we're going to check with our friends at Timeless Toys. Today is the last day for the matching donations. You can continue to to donate, to bring toys, to donate funds, to help the families and children who are being resettled in the United States, in particular in the Chicagoland area, the Afghan refugees. And I know that a lot of efforts are being made all over the Chicagoland area and all over the country, as a matter of fact, because we have empathy. More after this on WCPT 820.
The David Pakman Show.
There's lots of states that are never going back into lockdown no matter what. There are states that have made it clear, no matter what happens, we're not putting any guidelines back on. Delta is here. 90% of U.S. cases now, I believe, are Delta. Businesses are open, things are open, and so on and so forth. But things are going to get very ugly if we don't get more people vaccinated.
The David Pakman Show, weekday evenings at 8 on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk.
If you owe the IRS back taxes, then get ready to pay up. The IRS has giant private collection agencies actively tracking down folks who owe the IRS. So if you think dodging them was stressful in the past, it's going to get a whole lot tougher. Optima Tax Relief has this advice. Don't wait. Solve your tax problems now before it's too late. Optima Tax Relief works to stop the demand letters, stop the aggressive collection actions, and stop the IRS collectors from targeting you. Ask Optima about the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands, and nobody knows this program better than they do. Optima is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, and they get results, having resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Get a fresh start. Call today for your free consultation.
Call 800-467-2766. 800-467-2766. 800-467-2766.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Do you have an idea for an invention, but you don't know what to do next? Call InventHelp. They've been helping inventors for 35 years. InventHelp has helped over 10,000 inventors get patents. You can meet with an InventHelp representative who will keep your idea confidential and explain their invention process step by step. And InventHelp's databank includes over 9,000 companies who have agreed to review new ideas.
Call 800-217-4380. That's 1-800-217-4380.
My friend Marty, he wants to split the party. He wants blue folks in red states to vote green. I can see his point, though I really gotta say, no, we can't have another 2016. It seems nothing beats orange, nothing even freaking rhymes with it. What's a battered nation supposed to do? His Royal Orange Highness, he does love to divide us. We gotta stick together and vote blue.
Yeah, we do. We need to stick together, and we need to be open to conversations with people who disagree with us. I know I said I can't talk to people who don't have empathy. It's hard. What I meant to say is that it's very, very hard to have those conversations, but we have to keep showing up, too, for the folks that might be malleable, swayable. I mean, if they're malleable to misinformation, maybe compassion is what we have to keep trying for it, but they make us work so hard. Hey, John in Lincolnshire, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm good, Patty. How about yourself?
I'm very well. Thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
Good. Well, I just wonder if you could explain something to me.
Probably not.
We're...
I'm just going to go ahead. I mean, whenever someone starts, hey, let me ask you something. Why don't you go ahead and tell me this? You know what? Just from the tone, I probably won't be able to, but give it a shot, John. I'll give it a shot.
Well, I don't remember in the past that these giant congressional bills always existed. $1.5 trillion, $3 trillion, $3.5 trillion. I mean, I just don't remember that in the past, and I just wonder why the heck they have to be so big.
Well, here's the thing. I would say, first of all, us not remembering it or being able to pull up those numbers, it's kind of like saying, I don't remember what year the Civil War ended, doesn't mean it didn't end in 1865, right? So not remembering or...
Absolutely, sure.
Right. So, I mean, the other thing is, one, I'm sure that either side might have, I was going to say something else, bellyached about how big the bill was for it, how much the dollar amount was. But we are in a unique situation, and we have an opportunity to do more than we ever have before. And I think that's the part of it. And we are capable. The money is there. Look, we talk about it as some sort of limited resource because we never blink when we talk about defense or the Space Force or whatever. We never talk about how we going to pay for that? Just like we've been talking about for the last few days. So I can't explain it to you, but I can talk it out with you. How's that work?
Well, yeah, and the other thing is the paying for it. It's certainly not going to happen overnight.
Exactly.
I mean, if the $3.5 trillion bill gets passed, I mean, isn't that something that's going to go on for years? It's not like somebody's taking their wallet out and saying, here's $3.5 trillion, go spend it tomorrow. I don't know. It just seems weird to me.
It's all. The whole thing seems weird to me. The resistance to doing better for America is weird to me too. Yeah. It's it's what I don't get. It's so funny. Have you seen this? I don't know if you're on Twitter at all, but a lot of folks are retweeting a tweet from Cinema a few years ago where she said that taxing the rich and corporations is not class warfare. It's the right thing to do. And apparently, I don't know when she tried deleting it, but of course, the great thing about social media is that there are screenshots forever.
Yeah, right.
Thank you so much for calling, John.
That sounds like a fair thing to me.
Yeah, I agree. And that was one of the maddening things. What did you think about the fair tax that we tried to get passed here in Illinois last year?
I thought it was a good idea. It made sense to me.
Yeah, because the salary should
pay their fair share.
Well, and whether it's the state taxes, and people always talk about how much they're able to put things offshore. And actually, I just found out that there are states in the country that are tax shelters for the wealthiest. And our income since the 1970s has gone up about 9%. The income of the wealthiest has gone up over 117%, and that's not sustainable. There's just no way. It's all on us. 20% of the population owns 80% of the wealth. How is that just? We don't have a chance. You know?
Well, that's true democracy, I guess.
Well, we both sound so enthusiastic. I guess that's democracy. That's what we got. I remember there's a legislator, there's a Democrat actually, Senator Robert Martwick always would pontificate about democracy, and he would say that you get the government that you deserve or that you vote for, right? And then after having run for office and seeing how even the Democrats play these games, I realize it's the democracy they let us have. Because if you look at the money, it's not just there's not equal representation. If you look at how much money corporations, big businesses, special interests put into these campaigns, they are represented at higher levels than you or I, right? If we put in $50, $100, we're gonna get $50 or $100 worth of representation, and that's it. Sorry,
right.
I'm getting worked up, John. You didn't think that was going to happen, did you?
Of course. I heard yesterday that Manchin makes $500,000 a year from these energy companies that he has to represent. Well, that's no fair either.
Exactly. That's
exactly the point. I know, but
yep, and that's what I've been talking about. Is that's the maddening part? Is a lack of accountability, right? Is that it's the injustice of it that is so enraging. And that's, people always say, well, people would rather be distracted by, watching American Idol or garbage on TV or online. And at some point it's like, if we stay engaged, we'll go insane. We have to, it's a relay race, John. Sometimes you got to hand off the baton to somebody else who's going to keep running the race and take the next lap, right?
Yep.
Yeah. A lot of self-care. Thank you so much, John. I appreciate your call. Thanks for helping me get fired up. Talk to you soon. Right. Be well. I also, speaking of self-care, this is something we talk a lot about, and we talked a lot about it during the pandemic. In whatever way you might have found outlets for yourself, I hope that you continue to do some self-care, or if you never did during the pandemic, that you find some way to meditate. There are even like these little videos on YouTube. A lot of folks talk about apps. There's a app called Calm. Actually, one of our very good friends of the show, Dr. Daphne Scott, is one of the meditation leaders on that app. And it's a great app. I tend to, because I'm always like, I end up scrolling too much. I search for, I swear I do this, 2-minute meditation. Zach, you can meditate for 2 minutes. Do it right now before the next call comes in. There you go. Take a deep breath in and hold it for 3 seconds. But there are two, you could do a 1-minute meditation just to like reset your brain for a moment. They say that it takes, 3 to 7 seconds for you to act out on an impulse. Like, let's say you're enraged and you want to lash out at someone else or yourself. If you can take those several seconds to reset, to reevaluate how you're going to respond to something. And we really don't do this for children. We don't teach them about their emotions and what that means. And that, we talk about control, and I think that maybe is part of it, is that it's managing your emotions, right? We can't always control everything. It's very hard to stop your heart rate, or that's that tension that you build up. But if you can manage it with breath, with resetting your thoughts, that can really make a big difference in what you do. And one of the reasons I wanted to bring this up today is friends of mine from Ripson Group. They sent over some information about an event that is happening this weekend, and I want you to know about this. It's the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. It's their annual Out of the Darkness Chicagoland Walk this Saturday, October 2nd. And this is the Illinois chapter of the foundation. And this is the walk started in 2004, and they've had events like this in the Chicagoland area, which it provides a platform to create the awareness of mental health and suicide prevention. This is a space for people to feel that community, to find some healing and some hope, and also to tell their own stories of their experiences in their lives, whether it's the contemplation of taking your own life. When I was very young, I struggled with trauma, and oh man, I hate this. My mom's listening, so I don't feel comfortable going into any of it too deeply, but I want you to know that in my own way, because none of us can understand each other. You couldn't understand me, and especially for those who are so in denial of mental health, and all the people who are like, you need to just walk it off, or suck it up, all those things. Again, sometimes you become so incapable of escaping thoughts that kind of feed on each other. And I have in my life lost several people to suicide. Most recently, actually there have been several, but a couple of years ago I was at another radio station, and really incredibly talented man came in, a friend of mine, Brody Stevens, a comedian that I had known for several years. Maybe some of you know him from the Cubs events he used to do. He's a big baseball fan, and just this force of nature. He was so big. He was bigger than life. And I remember when he came into the studio, and he was just so pumped for me. He was so excited. He's like, you have this amazing job, and aren't you just thrilled with it? And I was going through my own struggles with trauma in that job of the target of persistent sexual harassment and abuse, and I really wanted to connect with Brody on that, and try to find the happiness, and that I did have this great job, but I also felt kind of trapped. But he was so enthusiastic about life, and you never would have thought that less than 6 weeks later he would take his own life. So you just never know what someone is going through, what their struggles are. And so I encourage you, whether you can make this walk, which is tomorrow, beginning at 9 a.m. They're going to meet at Montrose Harbor, and the event ends at 1. So maybe you can find them somewhere, along the way. Maybe you can't make it right there at 9. Maybe you're like me and you like to sleep in a little bit on the weekends. But this is a place to support each other. This is in hundreds of cities across the country. So if you're living outside the Chicagoland area, you can look for the walk near you. You can go to afsp.org. That's F as in Frank, S as in Sam, P as in Patty.org. And for Chicago, you would do /Chicago. So thank you to our friends from Ripson for letting us know about that event this weekend. And coming up after this break, we're going to check in with our friends at Timeless Toys to talk about the matching Today's the last day to get your matching donations in for this incredible fundraiser that they're doing. This is going to be for Timeless Toys, and we're going to have our friend on in just a moment from Timeless Toys to let us know how it's going and how you can help. More in a moment on Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive on WCPT Willow Springs is powered by ComEd. Lower your energy bills and reduce your carbon footprint with the ComEd Energy Efficiency Program.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago traffic update.
Northbound to Saba Lakeshore Drive, stop and go from the Stevenson to Monroe, Bryn Mawr to Hollywood. Southbound feeling it from Michigan Avenue 1 down to the Chicago Avenue light. East 88, bumper to bumper from Winfield Road on over to 355. Residual delays from an earlier crash. Eden's inbound, jam from Glenview Road down to the Kennedy Merge. Lake Oak Road down to the Junction 42. Outbound wide open. Kennedy outbound, 40 minutes out to the split 20 in the Express. Hour 5 out to O'Hare. Inbound at Ogden, there's a crash. O'Hare back in 58 minutes. 20 of that on in from the Junction. Eisenhower outbound is solid out to First Avenue. From the Circle out to 390. An hour and 20 minutes. Inbound at 52. Stevenson either way, between 355 and DuSable Lakeshore Drive, 58 minutes. That's traffic. I'm Mary DeBadges.
Your life, your hopes, and whatever you were searching for at 1:15 a.m., it's really none of our business, and it shouldn't be anyone else's. Protect your privacy online for free with DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
Panera believes in saying yes. Yes to clean, fresh ingredients. Yes to the new chicken sausage and pepperoni flatbread topped with rich mozzarella. Yes to delicious mac and cheese. Yes to putting it on a sandwich, creating the grilled mac and cheese sandwich. And yes to impromptu road trips to Sandwich, Illinois. Because that's living life to the flavor fullest. Get $1 delivery when you order on our app. Panera. Live your yes. Pricing and product availability may vary. Visit PaneraBread.com.
But we have a truck leaving with a big order on Tuesday.
Tina's floor manager retired, leaving her tortilla factory flat out.
What do you mean she's on a silent retreat?
She must fill the role and all those orders.
I'll oversee production.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Schedule virtual interviews and talk to candidates right from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Because facts matter. You are listening to WCPT 820.
January 6th, 2021, followers of Trump and something called QAnon attempted a coup at the United States Capitol. Who are these people? I want to live with the QAnon.
We're actually catch up with Steve Goodie in just a little bit, and right now we are checking in with our friends from the Timeless Toys. They're accepting donations for Afghan refugees, and on the line with us right now is Scott Friedland. Hey, Scott, how's it going today? Oh, hold on a second. Let me... Yep, no, I got that one. Nope, how about that one? Hey, Scott, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm very well. So, today is the last day for matching donations. How is it going so far at Timeless Toys?
It is going phenomenally. We have so far raised $11,928, and that does not include our match. So we will double that number, and we still have donations coming in every minute. It feels like that at least, and we will still be accepting donations after today through the end of October. We won't be matching the donations in October.
Okay, so today is the last day for folks to get their donations in. So it's who's matching these donations?
Timeless Toys is.
So you guys are you're putting your money where your mouth is. You're like, we're going to help. We're going to step up. If you help us, we will double that. That's amazing.
Absolutely. You know, this whole thing is about getting toys into the hands of these kids, and why not double what they're going to get? And we're so thankful for all of our customer support so far, so this is a great way to show our thanks.
And while we're talking, we're going to keep discussing this for a couple moments, but I want to make sure that people know where they can go to help out. Where are folks going to make these donations?
So you can go to timelesstoys.com and you can search donation in the search bar. That will lead you to make a monetary donation, or you can purchase any toys on the website, and you can use promo code ALLIES, ALLIES, and that will let us know that those toys are for donation.
And I know you checked in with Joan last week, so I wanted to make sure on this last day we get that big push across the finish line. I want WCPT listeners to be a part of this last rush to help out at Timeless Toys. And for those who are out there like, a toy drive? Why are we doing a toy drive for refugees who need, shelter and clothes and things like that? Explain to folks why this is so important, Scott.
Absolutely. This is important because all these kids have been uplifted from their normal lives. They're in a new place. They're in a very stressful situation. And what toys do is, one, it allows the kids to continue their education, learning through play. That's how kids develop. And the second part is that it just creates a little bit of fun and a little bit of a stress release for these kids. They've come over with just the clothes on their back, and the least we can do is give them something fun to take their mind off of what's happening right now.
That's the thing if I would ask folks to close their eyes and think of things from when they were little, the toys. Like for me, I remember my first doll, and and you know what was weird about that, Scott? I named her after me. That's kind of creepy, isn't it? But still. But I still have her. There are things that expanded your imagination, made you feel a little safer for having it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Their toys have a profound impact on us that people don't realize. Adults just think of them as playthings, right? But they really develop your mind, and they have a lasting impact on you. That's the best part of owning a toy store is the adults who come in here and have that nostalgia moment and kind of revert back to childhood. It's such an important thing for adults to remember to play just as much as it is for kids.
And I love that you give the option of folks going online and picking out the toys or do an in-store pickup. Let folks know, because I used to live in Lincoln Square. It is one of the most glorious places in the city of Chicago. Let folks know how they can come in and pick out a toy as well. Today, they can't today. They have 24 minutes. Get over there.
We close in 24 minutes. But in general, you can come in store to shop. You can shop online at timelesstoys.com. We do delivery, free in-store pickup, free neighborhood delivery within a certain radius, and all orders ship free over $100. So, and we'll ship all over the U.S., Canada, and anywhere else you want us to.
Outstanding. And the nice thing about going in store, though, is you can start shopping a little bit early for the holidays coming up, too, right? Get some idea. And maybe pick them up now and put them in the closet, is all I'm saying.
Yes, shop early, shop early. We all hear about the manufacturing backups back there, things coming in from overseas. Things may or may not come in. We're super well-stocked right now. We still have things coming in every day, but I would say shop early so that you get what you want. October is the new December.
I love that. October is the new December. All right, give out the website one more time and the code that they need to use in order to help get to the last day of matching donations at Timeless Toys. And if they can't do it today, beyond.
TimelessToys.com is the website, and you can use promo code ALLIES. That's ALLIES. And also watch out for a brand new website. We'll be updating the website here soon, so you might see a new website launching within the next few days as well.
Outstanding. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for checking in with us. And we do need to touch base with you going forward to make sure that, as you mentioned, with the holiday season, whether or not, folks are doing their early Christmas shopping. I want to know. And I'm sorry, one more time, how long are you also doing this beyond today? How much time do folks have to help with picking out toys for refugees?
We will be going through the end of October, and if the organizations that we're working with will continue to accept after October, we'll continue accepting toys as long as they do.
All right, excellent. Is there anything else you want us to know about? I don't want to forget anything, because sometimes people come on the interviews and they're like, oh, you know what, I forgot to mention, there's one thing I wanted to say. Anything else?
Well, if you're looking for an opportunity to come out to Lincoln Square and shop at our store, Apple Fest is this weekend in Lincoln Square. Mm-hmm. So you can come for an amazing time. There will be tons of music, food vendors. It's happening Saturday and Sunday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Excellent. Yeah, I love the Lincoln Square Chamber of Commerce. They always have great events, and we'll be talking to some of the folks about that in detail tomorrow. But thank you for reminding me about Apple Fest in Lincoln Square this weekend. It's going to be, I hope that the weather holds. I really do. Let's not think about it, right? We'll just go out and have fun, commit to having a good time regardless.
That's right. It's rain or shine, so we'll have fun no matter what the weather is.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day, my friend. And thank you for all the great work that you're doing. Thank you for all the positive energy and helping families who need it the most right now.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Talk to you soon. That's our friends at Timeless Toys, and we've got folks calling in. We're going to talk to our friend Steve Goodie in just a few minutes, who has been really a big part of my life over the last year. Steve Goodie, Brad Tassel, and all the comedians that have been on the virtual comedy show every Thursday night. I'm having Steve on in a few moments to talk about our event tonight and the kind of music that he does, and just what it's been like for him. I know that it's frustrating to be he's in Tennessee, where a lot of folks, you've seen some of those videos of people who don't want to have the mask mandates at schools. There's just so much. There's so much hostility right now when it comes to just asking people to do the bare minimum. And there have been so many studies and reports about how the kids are fine with it. I don't want to name any names because he's not on the air right now to defend himself, but we maybe on other shows have a regular guest who said it's not good for the kids to wear masks. By the way, it is. If you heard on their news broadcast, we hardly had any flu last year, and partly because we were distanced from each other and we were masking. Now we have kids in schools, and we want to make sure that they stay safe, not just from COVID, but keeping them safe now from the flu is not a bad idea. I mean, I'm not saying we're doing this in perpetuity, but how much of a relief is it to not have kids vulnerable to the flu or to catch the flu at school and then bring it home to somebody who may suffer even more drastic consequences from that, especially our grandparents who are vulnerable to pneumonia, to having that escalate, and also a strain on our healthcare system. That we are seeing this again. We've talked about this all week, where we have hospitals that have a bed shortage, and if you have an accident, if you have a catastrophic situation, a heart attack, a stroke, and now there's not a bed for you. This is part of the pandemic. It's not a pandemic of just the unvaccinated. We've said that for weeks. It's really a pandemic for all of us if we can't get the kind of care that we need. And the other thing, I know I talked about self-care in regards to mental health, but I also want to remind you, please go get the screenings that you need for your age group. For if you notice that there's something that's been bothering you and you just figured during the pandemic or in the last few weeks that, I've got too much to do, I'll be fine, I'll wait it out. Please go and get your regular evaluations, your physicals, any screenings you need to have done, whether it's breast cancer or colon cancer or any of the things that as we get older we need to monitor. And whether it's genetic in your family or as a result of age, if you've had an injury that you just haven't paid attention to, please take care of yourselves, because that's something that we have been letting go during the pandemic. Maybe you're worried about what the situation is in waiting rooms. Everyone's doing the best they can, and I will tell you, doctors' offices are being vigilant about making sure that their patients are safe, that they are safe. I was at Resurrection Hospital today, and everyone there was being very respectful of space. They take your temperatures, you come in. They have a new stack of masks, so everyone can have a new surgical mask. They have hand sanitizer. They have the spaces marked out for what's 6 feet apart within the waiting room. They have all the sneeze guards up for the people that work there behind the desk. I had to go today because my son Declan, they called us from his school, and they said that Declan had a runny nose, and that was something that Declan has severe seasonal allergies, and we were a little frustrated at first because we told them, we were like, it's on his file, he has severe allergies, environmental and seasonal, and they said regardless, because it is one of the symptoms of COVID, they needed him to go home. And you know what? We're not going to give the schools a harder time than they're already going through. Look, there are these annoyances, and you think, I'm trying to work, I'm trying to do something at the same time. So the biggest goal is to make sure that people are safe so we can get back to some sort of routines in our lives that are meaningful for us. So 773-763-WCPT, that's 773-763-9278. When we come back, we'll check in with my good friend Steve Goodie, whose music you hear every single day. More on Driving It Home. Patty Vasquez. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention thank you to everybody who's watching on our Facebook live stream. Always great to see our friends hanging out there. And I apologize. Sometimes I've got so many things going on. I'm trying to get to all the different ways in which you're joining the show with us. So thank you very much to all of our friends also watching on our live stream right now and checking in with us. And yes, I do have a huge collection of hats. Thank you very much, Karen, for that. I was just actually organizing them. I can't keep them all organized. I have at least 100 and some. But if you have a hat, if you have a business that you want to help support and it's a mom and pop joint, you can send us a hat. I will wear that hat. Take care, everybody. Just a moment. Hold on, everybody. We'll be right back with Steve Goodie.
One more good idea.
Tucker Carlson wasn't libelous because no reasonable person could listen to his show and think that what he's saying is true.
And then there's no disclaimer before his show either now. And it's literally fake news.
Everything that this person is going to say, Tucker Carlson, everything that Tucker Carlson is going to say now should not be thought of as true.
One more good idea with Marcus Newman. Sunday mornings at 8 on WCPT 820.
Hello, fellow progressives. Attorney Tony Moret here. You've been hearing from me for a few months now, and I've been hearing from you. As an estate planning attorney, I get a lot of questions. Estate planning can be confusing and sometimes a little scary. It's my job to guide you through the maze of paperwork, offer you options that best fit your family, and give you some peace of mind. The calls I've been getting from fellow WCPT listeners have been intelligent and thoughtful, exactly the kind of clients I cherish. Thank you for letting me draft your living trusts, wills, and protecting legacy for future generations. In my practice, facts matter, so advertising on WCPT is such a natural fit. Let me help you put together the right estate plan for your family, mindfully. Call me, Attorney Tony Moret, to schedule a free virtual consultation to keep all of us safe. 847-996-0496. That's 847-996-0496. Check out my website at moretlawoffice.com. Moret spelled M-O-R-E-E. And let's put your plan in motion.
Some got busy, some got lazy, some got creative, some went crazy. Couch potatoes, avoiding respirators, we all got pretty big round the equator. Shopping online, working online, zooming all day, no pants, that's fine. Hiding at home from civilization, here's what I did over my pandemic vacation.
In chronological order, more or less, with the non-political songs first, 'cause not everybody wants to hear what I think politically, and I understand that, but honestly, how can anyone get through the past 18 months without one political thought?
Seriously, how? And I know that you have many political thoughts, all of our listeners do, and of course, Steve Goodie joins us on the line. Is it weird to hear yourself singing sometimes?
So weird. Not just sometimes, all the time.
Is it really? Because everybody has, anyone who hears their voice, like, in comedy, we're supposed to listen to our acts right after we're done.
We are. Oh, man.
I've thought about this. I have some notes on the Patty Melts that I do every Thursday, but I don't have all of them. And I'm like, do I have to go back and watch all of those to see what bits I can, try to put together on stage?
If you want to, or you could just scream whatever is on your mind that day, and it will be fine.
I've been doing that today. I feel like a lot of my stuff is free thought. How are you doing today, Steve Goodie?
I am fine, thank you. All apocalypses considered, I'm doing swell.
Yeah, how's the temperature, both figuratively and literally, I guess, in Tennessee?
Oh, we're going to talk about the weather. It's actually been a delightful high 70s, mostly sunny day, and COVID is just scorching, and we're as red as a red state can be.
Well, the thing about Tennessee is that I love it so much. I love Nashville. I mean, it's such a great city. Do you just wake up every day and go, I live in Nashville? It's pretty cool. You should do that.
Until you really look at it.
I know.
Right.
I mean, that part aside, have I ever told you? I feel like I told you this story, but I don't think I've told it on the air before. My son Declan was born medically fragile. They did not think that he was going to survive because he was not able to breathe on his own for quite a bit. And when he came home, there was a lot of equipment, and he's developed differently than people expect children to look. And so people would always stare. And I had two boys; they're 2 years apart. So we were in Nashville, and this woman was just staring at Declan. He was probably around 3 or 4, and he was tapping and making grunting noises and stuff, and people were staring but this one woman was just staring at him so long that I got pre-angry. I get pre-angry, Steve, right?
I've noticed, yes, but it's always very, very amusing to us.
I got pre-angry. I was like, oh, what's she going to say? Come on, bring it over here. What are you going to say?
I think you've got the best anger management because you managed to make it funny.
Thank you. So she comes over, and I was like, oh, she's going to say something stupid. And she said, I just want to come over and tell you, she goes, I just want to tell you how beautiful both your sons are. And she was, it wasn't until my sons were 3 that anyone said that, that anyone said that about Declan in public, and it happened in Nashville. That's why I think I have such a big place in my heart for your city.
Okay. I'll take it. And I don't know if you know this, our friend Carla Ulbrich, who you know, has a song entitled, Won't You Please Say Something Stupid? And you need to hear it.
Yes. You and I, we are having a weird relationship on Sunday, Steve. I think you know that. Sunday nights at midnight.
Because you're always asleep.
No, I'm not. I'm trying to get Declan to go to sleep.
Well, you're mostly asleep.
Mostly. Well, I want to go to sleep desperately, but you and Brad Tassel have this midnight show, and you guys, you cover a lot of ground, some politics, but a lot of the things that have happened over the week and your material and things like that. But I also, so there was one thing, there was a top 10 you had done earlier in the pandemic before I joined the show, and I said you were seething with rage when you replayed that because, or you were exhausted because you didn't have, the reason I said that was because you didn't have any mirth. I know Steve Goodie to have mirth. Even if he's angry about something, I know you to have mirth. And I think that was the early part of the pandemic. Yeah.
It might have had less mirth than it required. Since then, we've upped the mirth level in the recipe. Like tonight's top 10 list on the Virtual Comedy Show, which you can get to at the www.thevirtualcomedyshow.com. Tonight's is so seething with rage, but I think it's going to be the most mirthful I've got. So we can do both at once. I've learned from you.
To have mirth?
How to be angry and be silly.
Right. Oh, there you go. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Oh, yeah.
Let's see if you agree.
Well, because here's the reason I smile so much is because you can trick yourself into, well, one, you can trick yourself into being happier. Also, when you're enraged and you're smiling, it's very unsettling and confusing for people. And I enjoy that.
Yeah.
I enjoy that tremendously. What are some of the things that are, because we've been talking a lot this week about the not taxing billionaires and corporations so that we can right this ship. I mean, like they are causing a lot of harm right now. What were you gonna say?
I said, yeah.
Yes. I was looking at, yes, those jerks for not wanting to. Well, because I contend that with the amount of money that corporations and billionaires put into campaigns, and we're seeing this Cinema and Munchin, where they don't want to compromise at all. They're holding things up when it comes to helping people at a time when we need it the most. That we really don't necessarily, we don't really have, we have representation. We don't have equal representation because being able to give a candidate, I mean, Cinema was going to have an event today while she's in the middle of negotiating this bill with lobbyists who don't want the bill to go through. So she's going to take like tens of thousands of dollars, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, in order to put her foot down on something that could help people. And I'm just angry. That's all.
I understand. And that's what you contend. And now, as a rebuttal, I contend you're absolutely right.
I love that about you. What's grabbed your attention this week? Like, what do you? Because we try to like pull things from the headlines. What are some of the things that are getting your goat right this week?
Well, the main thing that's on my mind, because it's what my top 10 topic is, so I don't want to go too deep into it and give it away. But it was pointed out to me that 2 weeks ago, Bob Enyart died. And I don't know if you remember who Bob Enyart was.
I don't.
But he was an American conservative talk radio and TV host, pastor of the Denver Bible Church. He was anti-gay, anti-abortion, anti-vax, anti-mask, and he died of COVID a couple of weeks ago. And that just, I mean, he just spent his life telling people what to do.
Right.
And listening to his own advice, he died. And then everybody who's on his side said, yeah, he was a great guy. He did great things, and we're not getting that vaccine either. Blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And that just, I think I texted you a couple of days ago. I don't have a top 10 category, and I'm not. And as soon as I heard that one, boom. When I hear something that's just so ironically sad and hilarious and man, it just gets me going. And 10 items, and then 10 more items popped right up.
What I can't get is that what does it take for people to at least let their guard down a little bit, and the possibility that
I'll tell you.
Yes.
Yeah, I got an answer to that. I got a buddy named Tim. He used to live in Nashville with me. We'd go to the Bluebird Cafe together. He's a songwriter. He also billed himself as the outlaw preacher. And he's a very dry sense of humor. And I've done house concert at his house and where he now lives in West Virginia. He's very deep in red country. He works at a university there, and he wishes everybody would wear masks. He wants everybody to do smart things. But since they won't do smart things, he's saying, okay, well, then let's throw away the masks and just let it run its course. And I'm like, of course that's the wrong idea.
Oh.
It's not just worse than doing nothing. You're going to make millions of people die. So we had an argument online, and then one night, a couple nights ago, he texted me just personally saying, hey, man, I just want you to know I love you no matter what. And I said, I do too, buddy, and I know you're just worried and mad and not sure what the right thing to do is. And having had just a personal conversation with him, now when we fight online, there's more of a smile to it. And he said, you know what, I'm starting to see what you're saying. I said, no, if you could just get to that point of view faster, we would save so much time.
Oh, man. He said I could see what you're saying? Really? Someone said that.
But I give him the credit for reaching out to me first and saying, "Hey, buddy, I love you no matter how much we disagree online." And I thought, big points to him. I need to do that more.
Did you ever get to the point in your interactions with him, they were back and forth, where he was insulting you or you insulted him, idiot or moron or anything like that?
A little bit. We didn't go quite that far. But one point, what was the point we were talking about? Hang on. It was about immigration and whether it is legal for people to seek asylum. I said, of course it's legal for people to seek asylum. And he showed me a badge on a shirt that he used to work for the Border Patrol 30 years ago. And he said, "You want to discuss the law? Let's discuss the law. You don't know what you're talking about." And so that was fairly aggressive, and I just let it go.
Right.
And that was like a day or two before he called, he texted me to say, let's make peace. I'm sure he knows some things, but I'm sure there's some things he doesn't know. And we're never going to get to any middle ground. I'm sure there's some things I don't know because I'm not a lawyer. I never worked for the Border Patrol, but I do know it is legal to come to the United States because you're a refugee. That's actually legal. I don't care how difficult it is now.
Well,
one of his friends.
Go ahead.
Yes, go ahead.
No, I was going to say it just leads me to believe that as someone who was a part of the Border Patrol, he wasn't allowing people to seek asylum when they were legally able to. That makes me nervous.
Quite possibly, yeah. He doesn't work for him anymore, but it occurred to me, and I didn't say this, but, a cop who doesn't like the people he's supposed to be serving isn't really going to look at the law objectively.
Right.
So I don't know. I really don't know how things were 30 years ago, so I didn't even want to get into it. It doesn't matter how things were 30 years ago. It matters how things are now.
Right.
And people can't, I just want to say one more time, it's legal to seek asylum in this country.
Yeah.
One of his more snarky friends said, "Yeah, you come on in, and as soon as you get the paperwork done, we'll deport you."
Oh,
great.
Well, you certainly don't swing your reins or allow whatever piece of leather strap that you were swinging towards people. You don't do that.
Hello.
You don't ride at them with a horse, and you don't tell them. Did you see that one guy was yelling at someone saying, "This is why I can't say the word." I get really close every time, but he calls it a poop country. He said, "This is why you come from a poop country, because you use your whip." I mean, that's not somebody that wants to have any sort of...
You want to fight.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. Yeah. They want to fight. Anyway.
So my friend Tim is in a weird position because he really is a peaceful soul at heart. He really doesn't mean anybody any harm, but I think he's just poisoned by so many loud right-wing people saying that the Democrats are causing all these things rather than my opinion, which is the Democrats are the ones trying to solve these things rather than just let everybody die.
Right.
So, a little... Again, he's a soft-hearted guy at heart. I think many of our friends probably are, and if you can get the conversation to just get off of the stuff that's making us angry and get back to being friends again, maybe we can start to reach people. And I think Tim really does want to follow my path more than he's following the path he's on. So we'll see how it goes.
I didn't know until Trump won how many people that especially because I travel so much around the country with comedians. I was in the Bob and Tom Comedy All-Star from out of Indianapolis, and it wasn't until after Trump won that people that I really liked, they would jump into on my page and never comment on pictures of my sons or comments about, they would only be to call me stupid and things like that. I don't have time for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've unfriended quite a few.
Yeah.
And I've got some friends who are still, we agree on stuff. They say, "Don't unfriend them. How are you ever going to reach them if you unfriend them?" And I say, I don't unfriend them willy-nilly. I unfriend them when being in touch with them is doing them no good and is doing me harm.
Right. I agree.
So, I think they say it's preaching to the choir if everybody agrees with you. I think it may be that, but it's also rallying the troops. So, we got to stick together. There's a big march this Saturday in every city in the world, I'm pretty sure, including Nashville, and I will be marching for women's rights in opposition to the Texas law. Let's just go do that. And if on my feed I say that and everybody who sees it agrees with me, then more people will show up as opposed to starting a fight.
Right. Well, and I love that picture you have of the woman that said, "Because of Planned Parenthood, I don't need an abortion." And that's something that does not get through to enough people. When I was 23 or so, I had some abnormal cells in my cervix, and they had a scalable, depending on my income, and I had no health insurance. It was $117 to have precancerous cells removed from my cervix. Wow. Because of Planned Parenthood, I do not have cervical cancer. So that just
there you go.
So thank you for posting that reminder.
4% of their budget is for abortions, something like that.
Exactly. And the more we help women, the more they don't have to make decisions that they don't want to be in that situation in the first place.
And the more you empower women to control whether they're reproducing or not, the less poverty there is. It's proven over and over and over.
This is all common sense stuff, Steve, and sometimes we have to keep saying it. Keep saying it. I've got to run because I have a show online in 2 hours with a virtual comedy show.
Yeah, me too.
Everyone, join us at thevirtualcomedyshow.com tonight. Steve, join me in a couple weeks, will you?
Yeah.
Awesome. Go to stevegoodie.com to pick up his What I Did During My Pandemic Vacation and all the great songs that you hear me playing right here on the show. I'll see you in a little bit, Steve. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, Patty.
Thank you. Bye, everyone. Enjoy the Rick Unger Show, and I'll be back tomorrow with our friends from Lincoln Square Applefest.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-590-7516. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Providers help thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-590-7516. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-590-7516.